Hi, welcome to the Ultimate Sports Vlog Podcast. I'm Madison Miller. Today I'm going to recap NFL Week 16, preview NFL Week 17, and look at the playoff scenarios for teams that need to clinch. I also make picks for the bowl games between today and December 30th and recap yesterday's NBA games for Christmas. All right, NFL Week 16. The Ravens knocked off the Colts on Saturday afternoon by a final score of 23-16. Joe Flacco threw for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Brissett, 215 yards and 1 touchdown. The Ravens are close to clinching a playoff spot, and the Colts are playing for draft positioning. The Vikings shut out the Packers on Saturday night 16-0 to improved to 12-3. Case Keenum, not that great, 139 yards and a touchdown. Brett Hundley, 130 yards and 2 picks. Christmas Eve, the Panthers barely got by the Bucks, 22-19. Jameis Winston had a nice game for Tampa yet again, 367 yards and a touchdown. Cam Newton for Carolina, 160 yards and a pick. The Bears beat the Browns 20-3. And the Browns are still winless. Mitch Trubisky, 193 yards, no touchdowns and no picks. Deshaun Kaiser, 182 yards and 2 picks. The Bengals upset the Lions 26-17. And now the Lions are eliminated. Andy Dalton, 238 yards, a touchdown and a pick, and Matt Stafford, 203 yards, a touchdown and a pick. The Chiefs beat the Dolphins 29-13. Alex Smith, 304 yards and a touchdown. Jay Cutler, 286 yards and a touchdown. The Patriots beat the Bills 37-16. Tom Brady, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Tyrod Taylor threw for 281 yards, no touchdowns and no picks. The Saints beat the Falcons 23-13. Drew Brees, 239 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Matt Ryan, 288 yards, a touchdown and a pick. The Chargers beat the Jets 14-7. Bryce Petty, 119 yards and a pick. Phil Rivers, 290 yards and a touchdown. And then you got the Rams beat the Titans 27-23. Which was a fun game. Jared Goff, 301 yards and 4 touchdowns. Marcus Mariota, 275 yards and a pick. Todd Gurley might be the MVP of the league. He rushed for 118 yards and had 158 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. The Redskins beat the Broncos 27-11. Kirk Cousins, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Brock Osweiler, 193 yards, and the pick. The 49ers beat the Jags 44-33 in a shootout. Jimmy Garoppolo was great yet again. 242 yards, a touchdown, or 2 touchdowns and a pick. Blake Bortles, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. The Seahawks beat the Cowboys 21-12. The Cowboys are officially eliminated from playoff contention. The Seahawks are alive. Dak Prescott, 182 yards and 2 picks. Russell Wilson, 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. And all Seattle's points came off of turnovers, and 2 of those touchdowns were defensive touchdowns. The Cardinals shut out the Giants 23-0. Drew Stanton, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Eli Manning, 263 yards and 2 picks. On Christmas Day, the Steelers beat the Texans 34-6. Ben Roethlisberger, 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. TJ Yates was awful. 83 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. I almost said 183 yards. And the Eagles beat the Raiders 19-10 on last night in a game where the game ended on a defensive touchdown. Nick Foles wasn't great, 163 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. Derek Carr, 140 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Week 17 is coming up on New Year's Eve. All the games are being played on Sunday. And we have the Redskins at the Giants. The Giants are pretty much locked into that number 2 pick in the draft if they lose or if Indianapolis wins. And the Redskins just playing out the string too. Packers-Lions is a meaningless game. Both teams are eliminated from playoff contention. Aaron Rodgers is out for the year. So both of those teams are playing out the string. Another meaningless game. You got the Texans at the Colts. I think the Colts can win this game. The Texans have been atrocious since Deshaun Watson got hurt. Sometimes even Yates has been awful. Tom Savage actually wasn't that terrible, but TJ Yates is awful. So I think Indy can win that game. Although my picks will be on the next podcast, and not to spoil any of my picks. You got the Vikings and the Bears. The Patriots hosting the Jets. Meaningless NFC East game between Dallas and Philadelphia. The Browns at the Steelers. And the Steelers trying to potentially get a 1 seed. And the Browns are trying to avoid the winless. Panthers-Falcons is a tremendous game at 4:25. Bengals-Ravens. The Ravens are looking to lock up a playoff spot. Buffalo's in the playoff hunt. They go to Miami. The Saints go to Tampa Bay. Jaguars at the Titans is a big one. Chiefs at the Broncos. And then you got the Raiders at the Chargers. And then you got, this is a good one, the 49ers at the Rams. And then you have Seattle trying to sneak in the playoffs hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Your clinching scenarios. The New England Patriots can clinch home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs with a win or a Pittsburgh loss. And I think it's a very distinct possibility that the Patriots win because of who their opponent is. And I think it's a very distinct possibility that Pittsburgh will also win because of their opponent. And they can clinch home field advantage with a win and a New England loss. Baltimore can clinch a playoff berth with a win or a Buffalo loss or a Tennessee loss. Tennessee clinches a playoff berth with a win or a tie and the Buffalo loss and the Chargers loss or tie, or a Buffalo loss and the Chargers loss. The Chargers are surprisingly still in the mix for that wild card, and they can clinch a playoff berth with a win, a Tennessee loss or tie, and the Buffalo loss or tie, or a win, a Tennessee loss or tie, or a Bengals loss or tie, or a tie, a Tennessee or a tie and the Tennessee loss, and the Buffalo loss or tie. That was confusing. Buffalo clinches a playoff berth with a win, and the Baltimore loss, or a win, and the Chargers loss or tie, and the Tennessee loss or tie, or a Buffalo, or they tie, the Chargers loss, or the Chargers lose, and the Titans lose. The NFC. Minnesota Vikings can clinch a first-round bye with a win, or a Carolina loss, or a Falcons loss. A Saints win, or a Rams win. New Orleans clinches the NFC South Division title with a win, or a Carolina loss, or a tie and a Carolina tie. Carolina can clinch the NFC South Division title with a win and a Saints loss, or a tie and a New Orleans loss. And Carolina can clinch a first-round bye with a win and the Saints loss or tie, and the Vikings loss, and the Rams loss or tie. Atlanta clinches a playoff berth with a win, or a Seattle loss, or a tie and the Seattle tie. Seattle clinches a playoff berth with the win, and an Atlanta loss or tie, or a tie and an Atlanta loss. All right. College bowl picks between today and December 30th. There's a lot of them, so I want to be quick with this. Today, the game's going to kick off in an hour, Utah and West Virginia. The Utes lost 2 of their last 3 games and 6 of their last 8. The Mountaineers lost their final 2 games and lost their quarterback, Will Grier, for the season with a broken finger. I think the Utes are a much better team than the 6-6 record. Their defense is good and their running game's good, and I think they will slow down the Grier-less Mountaineer offense. So the pick there is the Utah Utes. The Quick Lane Bowl is Duke and Northern Illinois. The Blue Devils won their final 2 games to become bowl eligible. The Huskies played well in conference play, winning 6 of their 8 conference games. I just think the Blue Devils are the superior team, and they should win this game comfortably, so the pick here is the Duke Blue Devils. The Cactus Bowl tonight at 9 o'clock, you got Kansas State and UCLA. The Wildcats, I think, have underachieved this season relative to preseason expectations. They were ranked in the preseason, but Kansas State won 4 of their last 5 games. I think the Bruins underachieved as well, and that led to the firing of Jim Mora. Josh Rosen, doubtful to play. So give me the Wildcats here. So the pick here is the Kansas State Wildcats, although I was leaning UCLA, and then I heard Rosen was doubtful, so I'm going with Kansas State. Tomorrow, we got the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl, Southern Miss and Florida State. The Golden Eagles won their final 3 games, and I think they're one of the sneaky good teams in their conference. The Seminoles have massively underachieved this season, and the team that, let's face it, the biggest stud in college football, considering their preseason expectations, although their quarterback got hurt in their first game against Alabama. But they won their final 3 games to become bowl eligible. Jimbo Fisher left for Texas A&M. And yeah, this team is underachieved, but they're just way better than Southern Miss. So give me the Florida State Seminoles here. The New Era Pinstripe Bowl tomorrow. You got Iowa and Boston College. The Hawkeyes lost 2 of their final 3 games, and before that, they had a signature win at home over the Ohio State Buckeyes to essentially knock them out of the playoff hunt. The Eagles of Boston College won 5 of their final 6 games to become bowl eligible. I really like how the Eagles have played, and you know what? I think the Hawkeyes are a little overrated. So give me Boston College. Foster Farms Bowl tomorrow. You got Arizona and Purdue. The Wildcats lost 3 of their last 4 games, but those games were either on the road or against tougher opponents. The Boilermakers overachieved this season, and they won their final 2 games to become bowl eligible. Khalil Tate, I think, is one of the more underrated quarterbacks in college football, and I think he'll lead the Arizona Wildcats to a bowl win. The Academy Sports and Outdoors Texas Bowl, you got Texas and Missouri. The Longhorns underachieved in Tom Herman's first season at the helm, and they had to win 2 of their final 3 games to become bowl eligible. The Tigers, meanwhile, have overachieved this season and won their final 6 games to become bowl eligible. I love the Longhorns here, and they're just the more talented team. The game's in Houston, so give me Texas. On Thursday, you got the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman. You got Virginia and Navy. The Cavaliers overachieved this season, although they lost 5 of their last 6 games. The Midshipmen, I think, underachieved to some sort this season, and they lost 6 of their last 7 games. The Cavs, I thought, were pretty good outside of the ACC, and I like them in this game, despite the Midshipmen playing in their own building. So give me the Virginia Cavaliers. The Camping World Bowl is a good one. You got Virginia Tech and Oklahoma State. The Hokies, I think, have kind of limped into this spot, splitting their final 4 games. The Cowboys split their final 4 games as well. The Cowboys' offense is led by Mason Rudolph and James Washington. It's one of the best quarterback receiving combos in the country, and I think that'll dominate against the Hokie defense that wasn't very good against elite offenses this season, so give me the Oklahoma State Cowboys. The Valero Alamo Bowl, you got Stanford and TCU. This is a great game. The Cardinals lost the Pac-12 title game, and they're a much better team than their record indicates. The Horned Frogs lost the Big 12 title game, and you could argue are sort of worse than 10-3. They feel like an 8-4 team to me. Bryce Love is playing in this game, and if he was healthy the whole year, Stanford would have a better record. And I love the Cardinal here in a close one, so give me Stanford. And then also Thursday night, you got the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, Washington State against Michigan State. Another great game. The Cougars split their final 6 games and aren't good away from home. The Spartans were tremendous in conference play this season, with the exception of their game in Columbus. This was a hard call, but give me the Spartans here. I like them on both sides of the ball. The Cougs away from home are not great. And don't forget the Cougs laid an egg in their bowl game last year, so give me Michigan State. Friday, you have the Belk Bowl, Wake Forest and Texas A&M. The Demon Deacons won 3 of their last 5 games to become bowl eligible. The Aggies lost 4 of their last 7 games, and it cost Kevin Sumlin his job. This wasn't an easy call, but give me the Demon Deacons in a high-scoring game. Give me Wake Forest. The Hyundai Sun Bowl, you got North Carolina State and Arizona State. The Wolfpack lost 3 of their last 5 games and are probably better than their record indicates. The Sun Devils won 3 of their last 4 to become bowl eligible, although Todd Graham lost his job. The Wolfpack are just the better team here, and I like Ryan Finley to lead them to a bowl win. North Carolina State is the pick. Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl, late Friday afternoon, Kentucky Northwestern. The Kentucky Wildcats have had a nice season, although they lost 3 of their final 4 games. The Northwestern Wildcats are red hot, and they're winners of their last 7 games. Give me the Purple Cats. They've been red hot, like I just said. They're just flat out better than Kentucky, too, so give me Northwestern. The Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl, Utah State and New Mexico State. I don't love this game. Utah State lost 4 of their last 7. New Mexico State won their final 2 games to become bowl eligible. I just think Utah State is the better of the 2 teams. I like them to pull this one out late. And then Friday night's an epic game. You got the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, USC, Ohio State, 2 top 10 teams, 2 conference champions. This can be an all-timer. The Trojans have won 5 straight en route to their conference title. The Buckeyes have won 4 straight en route to their conference title and would have been in the playoff if not for the ugly blowout defeat in Iowa City. This will be the final collegiate game for each of the team's quarterbacks, Sam Darnold from USC and J.T. Barrett from Ohio State. Give me Darnold and the Trojans in a tight one with a ton of points. Darnold is auditioning for NFL teams. He'll be motivated in this game, so give me the Trojans. Saturday, December 30th, you got the Tech Slayer Bowl, Louisville and Mississippi State. This is a fun one. The Cardinals have underachieved this season, although they won their final 3 games. The Bulldogs lost 2 of their final 3 games, and their quarterback Nick Fitzgerald fractured his ankle in the Egg Bowl against Ole Miss. Lamar Jackson put together another amazing season that got him a trip to New York as a Heisman finalist, and I think he'll lead the Cardinals to a bowl win. Give me Louisville. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, you got Iowa State and Memphis. The Cyclones overachieved this season, although they lost 3 of their last 4. The Tigers have had an amazing season despite losing the AAC title game against the UCF Knights. The Tigers are the better team here, and it'll help that they're playing at their home stadium. Riley Ferguson, their quarterback, will lead the way in a high-scoring affair. Give me the Memphis Tigers. The PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, Friday late afternoon, Washington and Penn State. This is going to be a great game. The Huskies won 4 of their last 5 games, and both losses this season were close contests. One of them was at Arizona State, and the other one was at Stanford. The Nittany Lions had a great season as well, in which their 2 losses were by a combined total of 4 points. One of them was at Michigan State, and the other was at Ohio State. This will be Saquon Barkley's final collegiate game, and I like Barkley and Trace McSorley. They'll lead the way to a New Year's Six bowl win for the Nittany Lions, although Jake Browning, the quarterback of Washington, I think is pretty good and will make plays for the Huskies to keep them in the game. So give me Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl. The Capital One Orange Bowl is Wisconsin and Miami. Here's another great game. The Badgers went unbeaten in the regular season but lost in the Big Ten championship game against the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Hurricanes had a great season as well, but they lost 2 of their final 3 games. One of them was at Pitt, and the other one was in the ACC title game against the Clemson Tigers. I absolutely love the Hurricanes on their home turf with their great defense. Malik Rozier is going to make plays, and I think he'll outdo Alex Hornibrook, and Hornibrook is interception prone. So give me Miami. All right, and then yesterday we had the NBA Christmas games, and all of them were pretty fun to watch. The Sixers beat the Knicks in the first game, 105-98 from the Garden. Joel Embiid, 25 points and 16 rebounds. And then Enes Kanter put up a great game, 31 points and 22 rebounds. And like I said, this was a great game. Embiid and Simmons are great. Porzingis had a nice game as well. And in the NBA Finals rematch, the Warriors beat the Cavs 99-92. Great game. Came down the wire. Kevin Love was great, 31 points, 18 rebounds. Draymond Green put up a triple-double. Kevin Durant had 25 points. There was a controversial non-foul in that game. Kevin Durant looked like he fouled LeBron James, and they didn't call the foul. But that said, the Warriors get the win. The Wizards beat the Celtics in Boston, 111-103. Bradley Beal had 25 points. Kyrie Irving had 20 points. Washington is sort of underachieved to start the season. It looks like they've turned the corner a bit. But their boogie bug is that they beat good teams but lost to below average teams. The Oklahoma City Thunder beat the Houston Rockets 112-107. Chris Paul was hurt. James Harden, 29 points, 14 assists. Russell Westbrook, 31 points and 11 assists. OKC looks like they've turned the corner as well. They're 11-3 in their last 14 games. And their boogie boo is that they're great at home but very bad on the road. The Timberwolves beat the shorthanded Lakers 121-104. Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram both out for this game. Kyle Kuzma was tremendous, 31 points. Taj Gibson was great for Minnesota, 23 points. Jimmy Butler put up 23. Karl Anthony Towns, 21. The Timberwolves are quietly 21-13, and they are, as we speak, the 4th seed in the Western Conference. And the big story from today's games, there's a lot of injuries. A lot of guys sat, and there's a lot of guys that ended up playing, like J.J. Redick from Philly was. There's rumors that he was supposed to miss yesterday's game, but he ended up playing. Obviously, Curry sat for the Warriors. He'll be back soon, hopefully. The Lakers, as I mentioned, Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball both hurt. The Rockets didn't have Chris Paul. So there's a lot of injuries and a lot of guys who ended up playing that were rumored not to play. And the other one was Joel Embiid, who ended up coming back from injury. Philadelphia is 15-18 on the season, 14-18 entering today. But they would have a much better record if Joel Embiid didn't miss some time. All right, next podcast will be the Week 17 picks and picks for the college football playoff and bowl games that are being played on January 1st. So, hope you guys had a nice Christmas and have a nice day, everybody.